and welcome to our module, Identify Your Competition. My name is Heather Heath, and I am the UW host for this challenge. To get started identifying your competition, you need to perform more market research. Like we discussed in our last module, secondary market research involves researching and analyzing existing information that was collected by someone else. Take your time during this market research phase and make sure to identify your business's competitive advantage. Your competitive advantages are the qualities and features of your product or service that outperform your competitors. It's all about customers favoring your product or service more. There are two types of competition to identify when building your business: direct and indirect competition. A direct competitor is a person or business that targets the same market as you and offers similar products or services. They are also offering a similar solution. For example, AT&T and T-Mobile are direct competitors since they are both cellular telephone service providers and provide similar phone products to their customers. Or Coca-Cola and Pepsi would also be considered direct competitors since both offer beverage products and they are both targeting the same type of customer. When you are trying to figure out who your direct competitors are, ask yourself this question: who is currently providing, trying to provide, or do you think maybe thinking about providing solutions to this problem? The other form of competition you'll research is indirect competition. This type of competitor is a person or business that offers different products or services to the same target market, but still has the same solution or goal in mind. For example, online schooling and a university would be indirect competitors. Both are providing a form of education for their students, but the facilities that can be used and the types of teaching you'll receive may be different. Or you and your friends may be starving and stuck between ordering pizza for delivery from Domino's or going to a local sit-down cafe in your town. These businesses offer similar solutions since they all provide food for hungry customers, but the way the food is provided and the types of food are different. When you're trying to figure out who your indirect competitors are, ask yourself this question: who is doing work that is related to the problem you want to solve? Let's hear from Blaney with Build Mothers, Build the World and Carson Rabou with Rabros about how they identified their competition. Okay, so Kyrie, can you tell us a little bit about how you got started?
Sure. So I started Build Mothers, Build the World while I was still going to college as a mom myself. And so it actually came to me right before I jumped into my last year of school that this would be something that would be super helpful for moms because it would have been for me. And so to be able to kind of get that program up and running while I was still in school was super beneficial. Because there were a lot of extra things available to me to help me get started, which was great.
Awesome. So through your business, can you talk a little bit about how you've identified a certain problem and then came up with a solution from there?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, I kind of identified the problem because I was going through that problem personally, which I think is the best way to kind of figure out a problem and figure out a solution to it, is if you're going through it yourself. And so I realized that there was a problem in that moms have a lot more expenses like rent and daycare for their kids while they're going to school that a lot of other college students don't have to deal with. But there's also a lack of funding in that area through other programs. Usually if a mom is single, she'll qualify for quite a few programs, but if she's married, there's not as many. And so we wanted to cater to both single and married mothers in our program. And so that really helped us kind of narrow it down. And there were also no programs out there that focus specifically on mothers who are going to college. There's a lot of job vocational training out there for single mothers, but nothing for married mothers and mothers going to college. So that's kind of how we identified the problem and narrowed it down to the group that we wanted to work with.
Specifically for this module, we're talking about your competition. So is there certain market research that you performed to identify your competition?
So I looked at the Wyoming Women's Foundation, which is a great foundation here in Laramie, actually. And they put out a lot of great information about self-sufficiency in Wyoming and information specifically for women and the wage gap. And so we took a lot of that secondary data from those different publications that they've done, and we use that to kind of address our problem and see that there is a huge need in our area. And then we also did some firsthand data collection through surveys, and we sent these out through emails, through Facebook, through our website, everything like that, so that we could get even more accurate data on the specific group of women that we were looking to work with.
Gotcha. So kind of jumping off of that, so is there specific things you learned from your competition that you took into account for your own business?
Absolutely. So I wouldn't say that we necessarily compete directly with anybody, but probably the program that most people know around here that is closest to kind of what we're trying to do would be Climb Wyoming. But they focus on single mothers, and they focus on job vocational training like we were talking about earlier. But they have a great program that's expanded across the state, which is what we're hoping to do. And so we've taken a look at how they run their programs, how they've done that expansion, their application process to make sure that they work with the best clients possible for their program. And we've partnered with them to do certain things that we know that they can do better, which has helped us a lot. So,
is there anything else that's helped you connect better to your market that you've learned?
Yeah, I think the nonprofit sector is very different from, just a regular business, because we usually work together a lot, especially when you're going for grants and stuff. They ask for those types of collaborations so that we can focus as much on our clients as possible. And so one of the biggest things that we've done to kind of connect with our clients is to build connections with other local nonprofits that serve kind of that same group. And we use them as a reference to connecting with our clients, but also connecting our clients back to their resources as well for the things that we can't do for them. So I think really building connections, community connections, is extremely important to get to know your clients and to be able to give them the best experience possible. And I would say that's the same for any business. It's just connecting with the community and making sure that you can serve your clients in the best way.
So just one final question I have for you, Kyrie. What advice do you have for these young entrepreneurs who are just starting?
I think, like I said earlier, focusing on a need that's specific to you, something that has come up in your life and you're like, man, I wish there was something that could fix this. Those are the best ideas that you can go with. And then reach out to people that you know that can help you, because that's, in the long run, people who reach out and get that help are going to be more successful than those who try and do everything on their own. So that's what I would say. Look out in the community. There's tons of resources here. Your parents are always great resources. Other business owners around town, always a great resource. So try and look out and really connect with other people, and just make sure that you're fulfilling the need for your customers like you would want them to be fulfilled for you.
Alrighty. So Carson, can you tell us a little bit about how you got started with your business?
Yeah, so one day my dad came up to me and he said, I have this idea where I want to take our wheat and sell it directly to the consumer, and I want you guys to be part of it. So ever since then, we've kind of helped. We had Riata to help us, and we've just kind of got the business rolling from there.
That's awesome. So can you talk a little bit about how you identified a problem and came up with a solution from there?
Yeah, so right now it's there's seems like there's a supply chain problem with consumers getting the wheat products they want. So we thought, let's just take the middleman out and sell our wheat products directly to the consumer.
Awesome. So it's just all about, instead of going through a consumer, it's just about getting the products directly to the table, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome. Do you have any specific examples of your competitors that you could talk about?
I would say probably indirect competitors would be like sunflower seeds, corn nuts, and Redtopia.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Redtopia, I don't know if you know what they are. They basically sell ancient grains, don't they? They sell ancient grains so people can make artisan breads.
Gotcha. So based on like the research that you have learned from your market so far, have you changed course for your business based on anything you've learned?
Yeah, so originally we were gonna just sell our wheat in 50-pound feed sacks, basically. Mm-hmm. But we started talking to some of our consumers, and they said they'd really like it in kind of like 5-gallon buckets with lids on them.
Gotcha.
So mice couldn't get them in them. So that's one way we've changed our method, I guess.
Is there any advice that you could give that you've learned in your business so far to these entrepreneurs who are starting their own businesses?
Pretty much like get started, you got to get on your feet somehow. Partnerships. Mm-hmm. And we learned that it's really important to like, say for instance, put like a vegan label on our products or organic, because that's really what a lot of people these days want.
Mm-hmm. So just making sure you label directly to your customers about exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah, so if we can put on there like it's organic, it's non-GMO or vegan, people are going to want to buy that because that's what they want. They want to know that it's, it's organic, like it's safe for them to eat. So that's what we've learned a lot about.
When you perform your market research on your competitors, try to find specific sites and pages for their businesses. For example, one of your direct competitors may have a mailing list posted on their website where you can sign up to receive newsletters. This may help you learn how some of your direct competition markets their products. Or one of your indirect competitors may have a Facebook page that contains customer reviews of their services that you could learn from. Once you've identified a few direct and indirect competitors in your target market, it's time to brainstorm ideas about why customers should choose your solution instead of your competitors. This is part of your value proposition. Your value proposition is the statement that answers why someone should buy your product or service. This statement should also convince your potential customers why your product or service would be of more value to them than your competitors. Let's hear Carson Rabou talk about his value proposition. So what would you say your value proposition for your business is?
Well, first of all, it's organic. And it's from a family farm. So we buy our wheat from a family farm. And, it's important that people know that because it's not just some big supply chain from a foreign country. It's raised in America on a family-owned operation, and it's organic. And, we think that there's a lot of value in that. So that's probably our value proposition.
Try out the favorite cookie activity included in this module. In this activity, you will list a few of your favorite cookies. From there, identify why someone would buy one cookie over another and how much people would pay for each. Finally, your job is to come up with your new favorite cookie, either one that already exists or a brand new one. The goal of this activity is to devise and identify the unique competitive advantages of your product, and in this case, your favorite cookie. Stay tuned for next week to learn about selling your product or service.